And immediately after introducing the members, which I will do, also indicating the political parties, we'll then come back to you to introduce yourself in 5 minutes, introduce yourself briefly, and that will take into account you sharing with us your academic development, your experiences, and how that could contribute to the MDDA if were to be considered by the committee for recommendation for appointment. We do so because the honorable members would have also had an opportunity of going through your detailed CV. So their engagement will take into account, yes, what is in the CV, but also what Ms. Mkubo would have shared with the team, or the points that you'd have highlighted. So that will be the approach we'll take to this interview. Later on, after engagement, you'll still have 2 minutes to still speak to the committee just before we close. I take it that is cleared. Now, of course, when I give members to engage with you, we have allocated 5 minutes per member in terms of engagement. That takes into account the questions that the member would have asked, as well as your responses. So that is in the 5 minutes, which is important to indicate now. That helps you to organize your responses in a way that keeps the conversation going. So that would just be about the formalities of us approaching this conversation that we're going to have with you. Without a waste of time, then I would indeed go to the members, introduce them quickly, starting with the members, honorable members from the African National Congress, the ANC, starting with Honorable Kubeka.
Evening, Ms. Mkubu. Good
So that's
evening,
Honorable Kubeka. Honorable Faku. Honorable Faku.
Good evening.
Yes, that's Honorable Faku. Honorable Kumbo.
Good evening, Mr. Mkubu. And Chair, I just want to indicate that at some stage I'll have to switch off my video because I'm experiencing network challenges here.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Kumbo. At least there will be the face attached to the voice and clearly would indicate that it's not an issue of robotics, but real human being engagement. So you'd have seen Honorable Kumbo. But we do consider the challenges that is raising so that he's still able to continue with the discussion. Myself, Honorable Maneli, who's also the chair of the session, and that completes the ANC component. I will now move to Honorable Mbele from the Democratic Alliance. Honorable Mbele.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, Ms. Mkubu.
Honorable Mbele, Democratic Alliance. One FP, Honorable Machozi, who is not on the platform, as well as Honorable Pambo from the EFF, who's also not in the platform. However, I must say, for purposes of record, indicate that in terms of the rules, we are a properly constituted meeting of the committee in terms of the numbers to proceed, in terms of quorum, and therefore we'll be proceeding with the interview like we have been doing with all other candidates. And therefore, the engagement would now start. And of course, as I said, we'll start with you, just to ensure that indeed you do get to relax and engage with the members. We'll give you 5 minutes, Ms. Mukbu, to briefly introduce yourself, like I indicated before.
All
So
right.
we now start. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, and thank you, well, firstly for the invitation. And also it's a privilege to meet all the members on the call. My name is Amandla Mukubung, and I am a trained and experienced marketing specialist. In terms of my educational background, I have studied through the AAA School of Advertising. That's where I did my undergraduate degree. I then moved on to the IMM Graduate School to do my postgrad. I've also done my digital strategy and building brands with the Vega School of Brand Leadership. And I also completed a professional diploma in digital marketing at the Digital Marketing Institute. And currently I am studying towards an MPhil in inclusive innovation with the UCT Graduate Business School. And in terms of my experience in marketing, I've worked in the aviation space, I've worked in telecoms, I've also worked in the education space, and right now I am working between campaigns and learning design management for an NPO that focuses on youth employment acceleration. And then from time to time, what I do is I do coach candidates as a way of imparting the knowledge and experience that I've got in marketing. I coach candidates at the Future Females Business School because I'm very passionate about the empowerment of women and communities. And I also contribute marketing and sales content onto, it's a business-related magazine, or rather a business-focused magazine called Your Business Magazine, that I contribute sales and marketing articles to. And then also I contribute the similar content. It's around sales and marketing on radio. And I do that in my mother tongue, which I am very proud of, because it is a way of me trying to contribute to the idea of making certain content accessible to specific communities. So I do that. I'm originally from Mahikeng, so I do that at Mahikeng radio station. It's Mahikeng FM. And also from time to time, I contribute similar content on Motsweding FM. And I think that wraps up more or less what it is that I do.
Thank you. As I said, we'll then allow honorable members to now engage with you.
Okay.
5 minutes per member, as I said earlier on, for questions and your responses. I will then ask the members in the following order. We'll start with Honorable Faku, who will then be followed by Honorable Mbele. Honorable Mbele will be followed by Honorable Kumbu. Honorable Kubeka would be last. Of course, I would come in for any point that I would want to get more from you, just to emphasize a point that a member may have raised. Without waste of time, Honorable Faku, I will now recognize you to proceed.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you, Ms. Amandla. Sorry that I pronounce you by name. You look very beautiful and fresh.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming to our committee. We're indeed grateful that you took the opportunity to apply. We're indeed grateful to see many young people coming onto the platform. You are saying that this is our time, and that is what we want as well. So we're grateful. I was looking at your CV, and quite impressive CV. I see that you have worked for Harambee. I also worked for the National Youth Development Agency some time ago. So somehow we relate because of the community work, working with young people and women. So I think that is what we want to even see in terms of our community radios. They must focus on these individuals like your women, your children. You know, you have people that have been in conflict with the law who don't know where to go. So these community radio stations must be the ones they must be the one who gives hope to our communities at the end of the day. So I want to check from you. First, what do you think, what could be the role of MDDA in promoting community media in a digital environment so that everyone has access to this information? And how can programming for community media be improved such that it responds to the objectives of media diversity? So, and then with your experience in marketing, my last question would be, should community broadcasting sector be competing with the commercial or public broadcasters? You will tell us, because at least you are in that space, you have experience, you have the skills. So over to you, all the best.
Thank you so much, Honorable Faku. I will start with the last question and just work my way back to where we started. So firstly, with the idea around whether or not community radio stations or community platforms should be competing with commercial platforms, I think there is definitely space for that. And why I say that is because I'm looking at it from a talent perspective, and also I'm looking at it from an advertising perspective. So from a talent perspective, we do know that we would need to make sure that we encourage for young people not only to join community radio platforms, but to also see themselves advancing onto a certain level, because we want to produce, as I think, equally good content for people that are in remote areas, just as one would receive when we are in more urban areas. So there is definitely room for that. And I think it is a great opportunity to make sure that we upskill the young people that come onto community platforms so that they are ready and they are on par. And I'm talking about this because there's a gentleman by the name of Douglas Mosadi that I had the honor of engaging with a few weeks ago. And he is from the Northwest, and looking at what he has done at the moment with ensuring that he dominates the airwaves in the Northwest every single Friday. And he says he wants to make sure that young people that are skilled enough and talented enough to be on commercial radio stations are actually the young people that he brings on board and starts mentoring them and giving them that opportunity to shine on such platforms. So there is definitely room for community radio stations to compete with commercial from a talent perspective. And then when we move into advertising, definitely, because I look at a lot of products and brands that are targeted or that target people in remote areas. There is an opportunity for them. I mean, we should be at a place where when we talk about